And it is game week. Game week on the hardwood. We told you before the men will be playing a Hillsdale on Saturday. But that game is sandwiched between two women's games as the Michigan women's basketball team will be taking the court on Friday and Sunday. Friday at 7 o'clock against Detroit. Sunday against Bucknell. And joining us to talk about those upcoming games, practice leading up to that, to those games, Michigan women's basketball coach Kim Barnes-Rico. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
How are you?
I'm terrific. It's game week, Sam, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it is game week and an opportunity to see the players, especially the young players, do it for real. And you know, fans got a glimpse, and you got a glimpse of them in game action. And we talked about your exhibition versus Davenport. I'm curious. I know you guys had a chance to get some scrimmage action in. I know you can't talk about the results or anything like that, but I'm curious. What did you pick up? What did you learn about your team as far as improvements that they made? And then what did you see that, hey, you know, we still got to kind of work on some things after your scrimmage on Saturday?
Yeah, it was great to have the opportunity to scrimmage again before we play on Friday to really get the final test to see where we are. I think our returners did a good job. We kind of gave up too many points, so we're going to continue to work on our defense, and I think that will get better throughout the season. But we showed that we were really able to score the basketball, and I was super excited about our young kids. I thought some of our young kids came in and gave us great minutes, and we, you know, the competition was really good, so it was great to see them against a good level of competition.
And so how did the week, because we kind of talked about this and you kind of laid it out loosely at the end, but how did that week in between an exhibition game and then getting back on the floor to play a real game, how did that break down for you guys?
Well, I think it's always important for you to watch film and to evaluate your last performance. So when we had that exhibition game, it really gave us an opportunity to sit down as a coaching staff and evaluate our game film, and then also have an opportunity to sit down with the players, both individually and as a group, and say, okay, this is what we did well. These are areas we need to work on. How are we going to get better? And really spend last week working on improvement as a team. And I think that's kind of what we're doing after our scrimmage on Saturday. Our season is so long and we have so many games that it's really important for us as a team to work on improvement. And from week to week, how can we get better? And what are we seeing in game film? And then planning practices to really work on those things and doing different drills to really work on those things to help our program and our team ultimately be better.
Yeah, and so it's going to be great to see them get on the court, as I said before, and a lot of when you talk about the chance to play against an in-state team, you know, there's always a lot of bragging rights on the court, but it's even a more of a bragging right type of game for one of your players, and Madison Rostovsky, who's going to be playing against her sister for the second year in a row when you guys face U of D. Just first, take us back to last year's game. I'm looking at last year's schedule now, 83-63. You won it, and looks like you had a big game from Shannon Smith in that contest. Can you kind of take us back through that contest, and if you can, how is UD different this year?
Well, it was great to see Shannon play as well as she did last year in that game, and I think Shannon was really able to get out and transition, and that's one of the strengths of her game is getting in the open court. And anytime Shannon gets in the open court, you feel like really good things are going to happen. So I think we had, over 20 points in transition in that game, so that's something that we're really going to try to emphasize doing. And they're a little bit different than they were last year. They graduated 4 people, but they had 2 kids that are out with injuries that played in the exhibition the other night and had 32 points and 26 points. So it should be a tough game. They're small. They're undersized. Madison's sister had 15 rebounds the other night. So that's something that I kind of been getting on Madison a little bit about. She's got to get some rebounds like her sister. But I think the difference, Sam, was when they grew up, Madison grew up playing offense, and her sister grew up playing the younger sister had to play defense on the older sister. So the younger sister really has a knack for rebounding the basketball, and Madison has a knack for scoring the basketball. But that rivalry between the sisters is intense, and intense between their family as well. And I know that they circle that game, every year on the calendar as soon as it comes out. And it's pretty exciting for their community and for their family. That game is special for Madison.
We're talking to Michigan women's basketball coach Kim Barnes-Rico here on the Michigan Insider. Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. Coach, I feel like we've talked about so many players on your team at length, and including the freshmen that haven't spent as much time talking about Madison. And I remember her coming in a couple of years ago, coming in with you, and just so much acclaim, so highly regarded coming in. There's pressure with that. I'm curious, from freshman year to last year, we saw growth. What kind of growth have you seen in her from last year to this year?
Madison has been incredible. Honestly, she's really shown, I think, probably even more growth. And like you said, her coming in as a freshman, there was so much pressure on her. Locally, she was, state player of the year, Miss Michigan women's basketball, and I feel like she had an enormous amount of pressure, and it was a tough transition. We had a lot of seniors on our group that year, and she was kind of trying to find out where she fit in. And, since that time, she showed some growth last year. And I think this year she really understands. She really understands it. She really gets it. She is a great, tremendous part of our program. She, I kind of, joked about her for 2 years, joked with her saying, Maddie, you got to pick up your defense. You got to do rebound, and we got to get you to do some other things. And this season, she has bought into all of those things. And she's doing a little bit of everything. Plus, she spends a tremendous amount of time with our assistant, Megan Duffy, doing extra stuff in the gym, working on her shot. And she's really feeling comfortable shooting the basketball, scoring the basketball. So I think we're going to see a really positive year from Madison Rostowski.
Gotcha. All right. So, Coach, from a strategy standpoint, this is another how does the week break down? You got a one-day turnaround between U of D and Bucknell. So how do you prepare? How do you get ready for Bucknell when you're working on U of D right now? Kind of take us through that and tell us a little bit about Bucknell.
Yeah, it's funny you asked that, Sam. I don't know too much about Bucknell, but last night I was spending some time with U of D, and I thought in my head, oh my goodness, I better get some information on Bucknell because the turnaround is super quick. But I think my staff knows that I really like to focus one game at a time. But I think with a turnaround that fast, I'm going to make sure that we have some actions in at practice and some things we need to work on, and not really tell the kids, and hopefully they're not listening to the radio, that it's Bucknell scout as well as U of D scout, because the turnaround is so quick. And in the game of basketball, unlike football, you're playing so many games in such a short period of time that's why your conditioning is so important, and you have to be able to, turn around and repeat performances and consistency of effort. So, that's really important for us, and especially with a bunch of young kids. The season is upon us. Things are going to change, and the turnaround is so quick that they have got to be ready to go. And your bench has got to be ready to go at any time, because you never know with injury, with fatigue, and with games so closely back-to-back. You got to kind of watch the minutes played by some of your upperclassmen.
What is Saturday going to look like for you guys, Coach?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because, we play Friday night. So my staff is, well, what time are we going to practice on Saturday? And I'm like, well, can I make that decision late Friday night after the game? Because I want to see how many minutes we play and how our kids are feeling. I think that's really, recovery is so important. And I want to make sure they get a good night's sleep. And then I know our men are also playing. So, I know our team really enjoys watching them and wants to be there to support them as well. So we'll probably wait till the afternoon, because we turn around and we play. We don't want to practice too late, though, because Sunday we play at 2. So it'll probably be an afternoon, and it will probably be more of watching film, more of a mental practice than a physical practice, and a lot of walkthrough, and maybe getting some shots up and having a meal together and just talking about the prior game and getting ready for the upcoming game.
All right, Coach, I know you can't get into specifics of talking about recruiting right now, but the early signing period is upon us. Just very generally, at this point, I'm curious as far as what the people that look at recruiting are saying. Are they kind of looking at this year's haul the Hall that maybe you'll talk about more specifically next week? Are they talking about it in the same ways that they talked about last year's heralded class?
Boy, Sam, I got to listen to your show a few minutes before I called in and heard your recruiting roundup, and I was wishing that I could talk to you today. And I know it's one more day for us until our 2015 sign, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you about them individually next week. But their preseason, the recruiting, the gurus are saying we're one of the top classes. I think top 10 in a lot of publications. So I am super excited about our 2015 class, and I'm really looking forward to them signing here in a couple of days and then having the opportunity to talk to you about them because they're just terrific kids and wonderful basketball players.
Well, Coach, you said it before that, recruiting, the pull, the lure of Michigan was going to get you in on more and more players as time went on, and that's certainly showing up on the recruiting trail. So excited to hear you talk about them more in detail next week, and appreciate you taking the time. Good luck on Friday. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you, Sam. It's always great to talk to you and Ira.